Timothy 6:10. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. This isn't meant to be a religious video. However, I feel like Timothy 6:10 speaks more true each and every day, especially in today's world of sports and more specifically college sports. The extreme desire for money is in full throttle 24/7 in every aspect of the game. I mean, obviously the players, and the NCAA is looking for money. Like I said, the players, the coaches, and then even like the referees, would get into some situations there. And then of course the audience members, you and me watching the games, and that we can get into more of that later. But this is open. There's a can of worms has been opened through a few different policies that has really flipped the whole entire college sports world on its head, and I think for the worse. Why do college athletes play the game that they love? Growing up is because they like playing that game with their friend. Maybe had the parents push them. Maybe there's probably 100 different reasons you can name, right? But at the core root of it all, college athletics are still sports. They're still games. And watching early 2000s, 2010s, you go back and watch Tim Tebow play. He wasn't playing for money. He was playing for God. He was playing for his teammates. And he was playing for the Florida Gators. He was playing for the team that he loved. Even going back to when Baker Mayfield was playing. That's not even too long ago. And just the way those are just a couple quarterbacks that I really love. The amount of passion that they play with is undeniable. And I just don't think you see that as much nowadays. I think one comparison you could maybe bring in from a different sport would be Victor Wembanyama. The way that he plays was very refreshing to see in the 2026 NBA Finals this past year, and the semifinals with against the OKC Thunder. And I think people really gravitate towards that passion, that true grit, love of the game passion that's kind of seemed to fall out of touch with many players today. So obviously I'm going to touch on the players first. One way to put it is that great wars historically aren't fought by mercenaries. You can't pay a bunch of people to go fight for something they don't believe in. And in college football particularly, it's a battle out there. It's a war. It really is. It's as close as you can get to war physically, in my opinion. You can talk rugby or hockey or something like that as well. But just you're gonna win the games and win the championships, and the audience is gonna respond well to people that are playing for the love of the game, for the love of their teammates, for the love of their school, and that's what college sports has always been so great about. But they've lost that. They've lost that with what the NCAA has done in the when they allowed NIL. And of course, NIL is great, but there has to be more regulations. This is ridiculous what they have allowed to happen. The NCAA at this point is a puppet organization. They can't win court cases. They've lost damn near every court case they've gone up against anybody with. Brandon Sorsby, the Texas Tech quarterback, was gambling on his own games, and he was still granted an extra year of eligibility. That's ridiculous. And the NCAA did this to themselves, quite frankly. They obviously there was too much money going to the NCAA and these schools, and players should be getting compensated for especially at the FBS level, for the amount of money they bring into these schools. I'm not saying that, but there needs to be more regulations in place. So there can't be a full NIL, unlimited NIL, and full unlimited transferring. That's ridiculous. There has to be, and let me preface this by saying I've transferred universities as a college football player, and I understand the value in the transfer portal. However, at the Division II level, there isn't millions and tens of millions of dollars being made by players. And so I don't know what the answers are. If you have any ideas in the comments, I would love to hear them. Maybe I've heard Nick Saban talk. He actually talked in front of Congress about Congress stepping in to help regulate this because the NCAA can't do anything about it. The NCAA can't do anything about it because if they try to, they'll get taken to court and they'll lose again and again. But yeah, another thing is, I mean, yeah, okay, Brandon Sorsby was gambling on his own games, okay? And the NCAA was obviously pissed at him. That's not cool. Everyone knows that's bad. But the NCAA is sponsored by all of these different sports books. And then we look at the NBA as well with, can't remember the guy's name, the Trailblazers head coach, I think it was. His name's slipping my head. He's involved in the whole gambling thing. But the NBA is gonna be all pissed at him, but the NBA is also gonna go get sponsored by DraftKings and Prize Picks and BetMGM and all these other companies, because in 2018, Murphy versus the NCAA Supreme Court case basically allowed sports gambling nationally on the phones, and you see how bad this is for the everyday person. They can't just enjoy the game for the game. It's just taken the innocence out of sports, and that it kind of ties me back to Timothy 6:10. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. These people love money more than they love the game, and honestly, that's just the devil tempting them. And a lot of people can't resist those temptations when there's millions and millions. And honestly, I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. These players have millions of dollars just dangled in front of their face, but it's going to result in evil, and it's going to result in we're starting to see some of the downsides of not only just the transfer portal. Again, I think the transfer portal can be used in a positive way along with NIL, but just the full throttle, unlimited NIL, unlimited transferring. I mean, you can transfer a football player can transfer after the season, do spring football with the team, and then transfer again. They don't even have to be there for a whole year. They can transfer. I mean, you could legitimately transfer like 10 times in your career if you wanted to. It's ridiculous. So I don't know what the answers are. I just needed to talk about this and how messed up how messed up NCAA athletics are. Division II is not too bad. Of course, there are people there will be players on the team trying to get to the next level, trying to get to Division I, which is, but a lot of the players are more involved in their community, I'd say, and definitely more bought into the team aspect, because Division II, you're getting some scholarship money. It's like, but you're not, like, obviously you want the scholarship money to pay for your school, so you're still not, drowning in student debt, but you're not just playing, you're not a mercenary. You're playing because you love your teammates and you love the game, and not because you love the money. You're not doing it. And that's why the game is so great, right? But at this point, the FBS level isn't amateur sports. It's professional. It's basically a semi-pro league for the NFL. But why would you watch college sports at this point? Unless you go to the school. Why would you watch FBS football when the players at this point treat their teams and their schools not like their home and not like their brothers? And like NFL players, they get traded and everything, and they can, they have their contracts and everything, but they're not glued down to a program, right? So basically, you're just watching a crappier version of the NFL, in my opinion. I think the only cool part about college football is the traditions that the fans do. That's probably the best part about college football. And I mean, compared to the NFL, I would rather just watch the NFL on any given Sunday, and that's that. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the answers are. Something has to be done. Whether it's contract regulation, salary cap, or I mean NIL cap, whatever you want to call it. Whether it's reducing the amount of times you can transfer. Again, it was the I don't know the name of the video, but NIL, you can look it up on YouTube. NIL, basically Nick Saban talked in front of Congress about NIL and the transfer portal and how someone needs to do something. And I mean, Nick Saban, you can say, oh, Nick Saban's been paying players for years. So has every big program. They've been sliding money on their table. That's how it is. But he's not wrong. It's never been this bad. And I don't know what the issue. I don't know what the solution is. Again, leave a comment if you have any ideas, because I'm about done watching college sports. Yeah. So that's my video. I do love football. I really do. I want to make sure it stays as great of a game as it can. Well, everyone, can make money from it, but the greed is just getting ridiculous. So again, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.